Hi, so our topic for today is combining like terms. So I'd like you to go ahead and write down these 4 vocabulary words that we're going to probably run into again. The first one is term. That's a number or a variable or product of a variable and a number. We're going to learn more about that in a little bit. Next one is the word constant, a number with no variable at all. And coefficient, which is the numerical factor of a term, and like terms, which is what we're dealing with today, which have the same variable factors. At this point, probably be a good idea for you to go ahead and pause and write down what you see right there in your notebook. Okay, so let's use this particular example right here to go ahead and define what those 3-4 words mean. So let's start off with the word term. This right here is an expression. It's an algebraic expression. It has 3a minus 12. There are 2 terms here. There is one term here, which is a product of a number and a variable. So 3 times a, that's one term. And then you have a minus 12. That's the other term. The coefficient is the number that is in front of that variable. It's the numerical factor of each term. And then again, a constant is just a number that has no variable. So this is not a constant. 3 is not a constant. 3 would be the coefficient. Here, the 12 doesn't have a variable, would make that a constant. Alright, so now what would constitute a like term? Well, look right here. 3x and negative 2x. Yes, the coefficients are different. However, your variables are the same. That's what makes a like term. A like term is if the variables are exactly the same. And so here we have, again, the same representation of the coefficients 3 and negative 2. However, all we really need to know about is when we're talking about like terms is that the variables and the exponents in this case are exactly the same. That makes them similar like terms. Next one right here. Here I have AB and here I have negative AB. Again, both have the same variables. These would constitute like terms. Now there's an important tip that I wanted you to definitely make sure that you have here. And if you notice, in my hands I have 4 different colors. You always want to use different colors to organize like terms. If you ever don't have enough colors to use, go ahead and use shapes. Like make a certain term using a triangle or a square or something, or both. Okay, colors and shapes also definitely work. So here I have 8k plus 3 plus 4k minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 terms. Now if you look at it, I have 8k and 4k. These are like terms because they have the same k's. So I'm going to go ahead and circle these. Now you're going to notice that I'm going to circle this plus sign right here with that 4k. And now here's my plus 3, minus 5. These are both your constant numbers. So those, because they're just general numbers, we can go ahead and put them together. So here I'm going to go ahead and put them in red. And again, notice I put that plus sign with the 3. And here, just like what I did with the other ones, I included that minus sign here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and just combine them. But first we're going to go and do some matching, okay? So I'm going to match this and this. And then I'm going to match this and this. And for some people who can do this without rewriting it out, that's perfectly fine. But if you are not that strong right now with this particular concept, I would rewrite it so that way all things are together. So let me just rewrite this. So let's start off with our blue ones, our blue circles here. So we now have 8k plus 4k. Then I'm going to combine these two. So I have my plus 3 minus 5. Alright, because these two are the same, we can combine these like terms because of their similar or common variables. So I'm going to take 8 plus 4, that's going to give me 12, and then 12k. Next, here I have plus 3 minus 5. That's basically a positive 3 minus 5. And if you'd like to go ahead and kind of work on it on its own, you can use the addition rules that we talked about. Change that to a plus, change that to its opposite. So now we have a positive 3 and a negative 5, and you're adding them together. Since they are different numbers, you're going to subtract 5 minus 3, which will give me a 2, and then take the sign of the larger value of number, which would make this a negative. So this is 12k minus 2. And again, you can check to make sure, can I combine these two? And the answer is no, because this does not have a k. So my answer is solved right here. And I know you don't think that it is because it's not, there's no equal sign, but that's as simplified as it can go. Alright, let's do a couple more. See if you got the gist of it. Alright, let's have a look right here. Now here we have 3x plus 3 minus 5y. 1, 2, 3 terms. Since I have 3 terms, and since it looks like I have this, this, and this, and none of them match, we could circle them. So let's say I want this one for that. I'm using different colors again. Let's say I want this for this, and again notice that when I'm enclosing them, I'm including the add or the subtract sign, and then now what you notice in this one is there are 3 different terms, so nothing that you could combine, which means the answer is still just 3x plus 3 minus 5y. That is your answer for this. You cannot combine them, there's no simplifying. Alright, so look at this right here. What I notice here is I just need 2 colors for this one because I do see an A, an A, and an A. So let's go ahead and do this. And then I also notice that I do see my constants right here. And again, how you group these, or what symbols that you use, or ways to organize them, it's up to you. I just chose specific ones just to make things a little bit easier. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and match them up. So I have A plus 3A plus A. So if I were to take A plus 3A plus A, well, here, this A, I know there's no coefficient. You have to assume that there is a 1 here, because this A exists, so it has to have a 1. Same with this one. So let's go ahead and add this together. I have 1A plus 3A, that gives me 4 A's total, plus another A, that's going to give me 5. So I now have 5 A's. Next, I have a negative 4 minus 7. So if you wanted to just kind of take negative 4 minus 7, for those who are still having the difficulties with the subtraction, let's go and change this to a plus right here, change that to the opposite. I now have negative 4 plus negative 7, and according to our addition rules for integers, if they're both negative, add them together and keep the sign. So that makes it negative 11. Now look at these two again, check to see if there are any like terms that you can combine. I don't see any. This doesn't have an A, so that's my answer for this. Alright, here, what happens if your variable has 2 of them? Well, it's just the same concept. If you have an XY, you have an XY, they're the same. They have the same variables. The coefficients don't matter at all. So let's go ahead and do that. So circle that one. And I'm going to go and circle this one. And if you notice, this one is very similar to the one on top. And if you noticed again, I did enclose with the adding and the subtraction signs. So let's go ahead and put these guys together. These two match. 2 plus 3 is going to give me 5xy. Here I have the -6 and +4. So if I wanted to go and write that out on the side, I can to kind of help me out. -6 plus 4. Now we know that this is already an addition question, so you don't have to change anything. No adding the opposites here. So here you have -6, +4. They're different signs, so you're going to subtract. That gives you 2. Take the sign of the bigger number. This is a -2. So my answer here is 5 times x times y. That's one term. -2. This doesn't have an x and y, so which means that it is simplified to its fullest. Alright.